Now, without further ado, the UI design workshop. So, just a brief kind of spiel. Basically, we'll be covering UI design, some ways it can be utilized in games, some different things you want to keep in mind. And we're gonna have a big, most of it will be a big activity, which I'll explain later. But for now, let's fix this first slide. That is much better. Boo! I can't believe it. Hi, what's up? Hey, Jack. Hold on, give me 1 second. Sweet. So we'll start off right away. So what is UI? So it seems kind of simple, but it stands for user interface. It's kind of the communication between yes, sir. But it's the communication between the game and the user, displaying information that may not be so obvious to the player, and it serves as your general kind of reference for what is the current state of the game. And so there's different types of UI. We're going to cover two main ones, which is your heads-up display, which is basically during gameplay, these are the kinds of things that will show up. And so it'll have a direct interaction to what is happening on screen and to what information you need to process in order to make your actions the best you can do. And then menus are just your typical menus, your start screen where you can start a new game or go to your options. Or we're going to look at kind of what does that look like? How do I want to organize it? Do I make it super deep? Do I make it super shallow? What kind of vocabulary do I want to use? And things like that. As you can see, these are menus. These are UI. The top one is an example of a HUD. The bottom one is an example of a menu. And so we're going to move on to different forms of UI. And so there's kind of four different forms you can see UI within games. And then they relate to whether the UI is part of the world or part of the story. And so UI that is not part of the story and it's not part of the game world is non-diegetic. So that would be things like health bars or tutorials. Those are things that are not kind of concrete within the game world, nor are they part of the story. Diegetic would be the complete opposite of that. So visual aspects are represented within the game world. A great example, which you'll see in a second, is Dead Space, where they visualize the HP using the armor of the main character. And next, you have spatial, where things are not part of the game story, but however they appear within game space. And so these are ways to represent things within the game world. However, you don't have to worry about them making sense contextually to your overall story. And finally, meta, where things are part of the story, however, not present in game space. We have a good example in the next slide, which we'll go over to now. So on the left, some examples of diegetic is, I believe this is Battle Block Theater, your selection of what difficulty, and then as well as Dead Space. This kind of identifies, it shows what kind of things you're looking for. So the gun shows your ammo, your health is shown on your back. I don't know what stasis is. It's the freeze power, the slow down. Okay. So everything you need to, like all the information you need to interact with the game is shown within the game's world and story. Non-diegetic are some examples on the right. The top being Fire Emblem, it just shows you a bunch of stats that represent some part of the character. However, it's not integral to the design within the game world or the story. It's just a way to show you the information. Same with the bottom, showing you health and meter. It doesn't have anything to relate to the story or the game world. And then spatial, these kind of are on the fence, but a good example is Breath of the Wild. It uses the scope to kind of contextualize a kind of viewing telescope within the game world. However, it could be, you could argue it's part of the story because it's something that this thing's equipped with, but it's a way to kind of integrate it to the feel of the game. And on the right, some examples for meta, the top one, I think Max found this one. It was a really good find in my opinion. It's a great way of demonstrating like Batman's detective skills without you being able to understand his detective skills. You know, the story of Batman is he's the world's greatest detective. So of course, at a glance, he's going to be able to know where people are through hearing and know what they're equipped with by looking at their guns. But as a player, it's going to be really hard to spot that on the fly. And so they visualize it using X-ray to see where they are and little pop-ups to see what they're holding and all this information because it's not something you'd be able to convey properly through just kind of story style. and so through game world stuff. So they're able to transform that story to fit something that the player's easily able to understand. And the same kind of applies down here. In the real world, if people are talking to you, you're not going to see their text pop up right next to your head. It's something that's happening as part of the story. I mean, they're talking, but the visuals of their words are not there. And so we're gonna do a little question here of why is UI important. I've kind of talked about why UI shows you information that you need, but how much does that information really impact you as a player? And so I have a little example here. As you'll notice, some things might be missing. So do people want to call it out? What is missing here?
You have no idea what your percentage is or health or knockback potential. I can't remember what it's called.
The how many times you died. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any more?
Looks like something missing from the top. Maybe like the stage thing.
Timer. Okay. Anything else? Mitchell.
That's player Doritos.
Player Doritos. The little arrows over their head that tells you. Yeah. Any more? We have that stocks, percentage, timer, the little player arrows. Anything else? Because if you can name another one, then I'd be really impressed because that's all I got rid of. So, so we've identified those 4 things. How would they impact how you play the game? Say if you didn't know what your percentage was or how much lives you have, how would that impact how you play?
You might play riskier when you really shouldn't, or play more defensively when you really shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. And why might that be a problem with in a game you're trying to defeat your opponents within the allotted time? You can run out of time. I think the game itself wouldn't be engaging. If you're not able to understand at a glance what the overall game's objective is, then the UI is not doing a proper job of displaying proper information you need to know to win at this game. So with that in mind, this is gonna be the bulk of our workshop, but we're gonna be doing an activity. So I'm gonna give you a description of a pre-existing game, and I'm just gonna describe it to the elements that kind of make up that game, or at least that menu of that game. And we'll, as a group, we'll identify what information is important to convey for that genre, for that, either have some specific things about what kind of that game loop will have in it per game. So we'll make these lists, and then we'll each kind of make a group little mock-up. I think for the first one, we'll do it as a group. So I'll draw it up here, and we'll kind of yell out what we want, where we want to place it, and things like that. And in the end, I'm going to show the game, and we're going to do a little case study and compare and contrast to see what does the game do that we didn't, but what did we do that we might think is better, or what did we do that was worse? And so these first 3 will focus on heads of displays. Important, if you know the game, do not say it. The whole point of this activity is to kind of differentiate and separate the game from the concepts and kind of parts of that game. And so we're going to try to think of them as very separate entities. Some of these might be very obvious to you. Once again, do not say them. And some things to keep in mind before we start. These are some kind of things I like to keep in mind when I'm designing some UI. The first one is kind of trying to keep a good sense of balance in your UI. Things that have more weight than others can kind of draw the attention of the user or the player, which is a very powerful concept. However, if you want to make things kind of lay low and simplified, keeping a good balance is a good way to kind of keep the player's focus off the UI and more on the game itself. Another one is to have your control scheme in mind. So knowing what control scheme do we have for this game. If you guys have any questions about the control schemes of these games, I will answer them. But keeping that in mind, because some games will use that to their benefit. Some of them will display things like Dark Souls in a little like diamond shape that kind of emulates the D-pad. So you have it kind of connects with your brain. Oh, this button on this D-pad will correspond with this. And the last one is contrast. We're not going to be talking about a lot of artistic side of UI. It's very important, but this is more about design-wise. But this is an important thing to keep in mind because it's a good way to draw attention to things that you think are important. For example, health is very important to be able to see. Like if you're playing a competitive first-person shooter game, oh, I have 50 health. It'd be nice to be able to glance at that quickly and look back before making any actions. So with that in mind, we're going to start with this first game. So our first game is a JRPG with real-time combat where you build up a gauge for special attacks by hitting the enemy. specials build up more powerful specials you can combine with allies to create synergies. An important note is this game can be played on a small screen. So let me grab a pieces of chalk kind of suck. Can people see this well?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna use the white. So
Oh, nice, guys.
yeah, that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna get a list of elements. Real quick for the stream. Never mind. Okay. Cool. So with this game design in mind, if you have any questions or want to shout out some important elements, raise your hands.
Some gauge to know the synergies, like whose abilities are ready at that time.
Okay. So gauge for synergies.
I think an emphasis on like meters rather than numbers, since it's gonna be on a smaller screen.
I like that.
I'm gonna say like the same thing. No words, more like pictures.
Mhm.
Like little icons.
So more visuals than text. Jack.
Yeah, on a small screen, the proper usage of screen space UI is
Mhm.
incredibly important. We don't want to make something that covers up a lot of them.
Yes, you do. So I guess kind of condensed UI in a way.
Color coding.
Color coding.
Because some abilities are meant to go first before others, then you want to color code that.
What are some important things that you would want in a JRPG? Hold on, Adam.
No, this is not related to this. Visual indicators of who their allies are.
Mm-hmm.
So their faces, their names, both more like their faces.
Sweet.
You need to have a space that's like a either like an anchor, sort of
Mhm.
it's
The way to access abilities.
way to access.
We have the synergies gauge. Does there need to be a separate one for the special attacks?
We can have one.
Or if it's too much clutter?
So like a meter for special attacks.
Yeah, unless you want to combine it with the gauge for synergies so that it takes up less space.
We can get to that.
Alright.
It's more.
The hat was already described with emphasis on meters, but just like health bars and then like
Okay, there we go.
Like
That's what I
mana-
was for.
mana bars and stuff.
Oh.
So yeah, the how is like done through like meters.
Feel free to shout them out.
Yeah, and also, along with the health and damage bars, maybe based on the type of game, you might want like a damage indicator, like either a little number that says how much damage.
Just a little pop-up.
Yeah.
Show
little
damage. Okay. Is there anyone who hasn't spoken yet who wants to share? Yes.
What does J mean?
Japanese RPG or role-playing game.
What RPG? How does that do that?
I emphasize that because they're very different from Western RPGs.
So, dumb question, but
Yes.
with real time, does this mean that like you wouldn't have the time to
It-
switch between like a menu or something? Because I'm thinking
Technically,
having
yes.
multiple
Yeah.
menus.
It,
might help.
it is turn-based.
So, 'cause I know like real time
it's
can
real
be-
time as in it is not turn-based. It is always active.
Okay,
Things are
gotcha.
always happening.
Then never mind.
Yes. Any other things? I think we got a decent list here. So we have, I think for the synergies, we have a way to access our special attacks. We have our health, which is very important. Indicator for allies. Is there anything else we can think of?
Enemies? Wait.
The enemy indicator
Yeah.
or health bar for enemies.
Oh, yeah.
That might be important.
Yeah.
Is your map like what is it?
Assume we're in a very intense battle right now, and we don't care where we are.
Okay.
If you have a party, then stats for all your party members. Like,
What kind of stats do you think?
Probably at least health and magic. Could have like stamina or something if they need to swap out.
Any last ones?
I don't know, but like any like status effects or anything,
Status
like if
effects?
there's like a poison.
Good. Yeah, feel free if there's no, you guys want to ask questions about the game. Stat. We'll do like 2 more and then we'll make our
To
UI.
continue for the health, the enemy health bar, an indicator for like a damage type that
Damage
they
type?
are from. Like if they can like hurt you while you attack them, then that's a damage. And there's an indicator for them being able to do that on the rubber health bar.
Okay.
Or depending on like if they're important or not. Like,
We'll assume there's damage types in this, yeah.
Have the synergy space to know any item data or whatever.
I'll put it on here. It's not in this game, but we can work with that in mind. Okay. I think this is a good list, so 2 more. That's it.
A really big constant explosion in the middle of the screen.
No, okay, next.
Considering it's like you're working with like other players to be like communication. Like,
So it's a single player
okay.
game.
Never mind.
Okay. So with this list in mind, let's kind of work together for this one and kind of draft out. So what in our list, can you guys read that? If not, I can read it out. Okay. So what kind of things we want to emphasize first? What are the things that are kind of most important for our kind of game flow here?
I'd say the health and
Health?
points, I think.
Okay, where do we want to position this? Where do you think is a good spot to be able to look at your health and your allies' health at a quick
I
pace?
feel like usually it's like either like top or bottom of the screen, and then
Usually on the left.
or like left, or like pick the for allies, like on the left, not the list.
Okay, so I'll tell you what we have in mind. So are we fine with the health being in the top left?
Yes.
You like that? Okay, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be, we'll say 3 to a party. And so we'll have everyone here. And we said, I'm gonna take what we had in mind for other things. So we're gonna have meters for health. And we had visual indicator for allies, so we'll have little profiles here. Where we can see the HP and maybe have this cut in half for HP and MP.
Would we be so? Since this is real time, would we be controlling like one of the characters?
Yes. One at a time.
I would like emphasize our character more since it's just the one that we are
Okay.
controlling usually.
I can make this a little bigger though. Let's make this a
Just,
little
like,
bigger.
slightly bigger, yeah.
Kind of show which one is active.
Yeah.
What else?
Maybe next to the faces of other things.
Okay. Where do we want to identify that?
It's kind of like an outline.
Little star symbol.
Yeah.
Where do we want? Okay, we'll have a little star symbol. I know we talked a lot about having meter for. Do we want to have a meter?
Yeah,
Sure, let's maybe put like a
top right maybe.
Top right.
That might be a little bit like a
Okay.
Is it the synergy for the main player that you're playing, or is it the synergy for all the players? Like, you need a bar for each person, or what? Like,
There's technically a bar for each person.
because
Yes.
then you can just put it below the health bar, but in a different color, right?
Okay. Do we want to do that? If whether or not identifying a yes.
I do kind of like the merge of like the star and meter, so it's like the star almost like fills up
So like.
like a yeah.
And this fills up?
It'll fill up, and then like if it's all filled in, then it's ready.
I'm so sorry.
I don't think it's your fault.
Oh. Just kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I heard top right. Do we want to put that in the top right?
I like that.
You like that? Okay. So we have one for each character. So top right each one.
Maybe next.
Can we get next to that?
Oh, I thought it was just like
If it's going to be anywhere else, I think it would be the bottom left.
The bottom?
Because it's closer, like if you're going to be.
How would you identify what character it goes to?
I don't know. That's what you guys choose.
Okay.
I'd say next to the player
The
icon.
profile
Yeah, I like
picture.
Here's the icon.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking at that point, if you're already having it next to, why not just have the icon be what gets filled up?
For the player?
Yeah.
That's a fair.
Because I'm thinking instead of just having like more meters, just kind of work within the. Because I feel like, especially if it's going to be a small screen and there's a bunch of other information we need to put on,
Mhm.
combining as much meter stuff together as we can, I think would be good.
Okay. Do we like that?
Would we color code the stars to know which characters switch? Because I'm assuming like each character is unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have nicknames.
Well, the idea that was just tossed is tying it to their actual
Like, profile
avatar
itself,
icon.
So like the icon.
So maybe
is
they-
what gets, like the color change.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah. That's
Okay.
I guess for abilities then, maybe we put that in the low center of the screen because if you're for when you're playing as a character be down there, yeah.
Mhm.
For character you're playing as, it would be a clear indication of what abilities you have available at that time.
This is just them kind of.
Yeah.
So abilities down at the bottom. Let's just say, for instance, you have 3 abilities. We'll say 3 abilities. So we want one in the bottom middle. How do we want to kind of show that off? I'll give you a little hint for control scheme. The control scheme is using the right button faces. So each one corresponds to a different special.
Like A, B, X, Y.
wait, small space.
Does on a control scheme. That's just how it works. So it's like-
I kind of like bottom right then because that kind of like hugs the wall really nicely or the edge of the screen. You can kind of just layer it layer it similar to how the buttons are laid out.
Okay. So like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I guess like picture indicators for maybe like specific abilities. I don't know like how Perfect.
Okay. So we've gotten gauge for synergies. We've had an emphasis on meters. We have HP. We have no damage yet. Status effects, no. Color coding for skills. You can just assume we did that.
Yeah.
Visual indicators for allies. We have that. Waste access abilities. We have that. Meter for special attacks. So we have our special attacks.
Well,
Well, it's a synergy meter, right? Like
The specials build up their own meter.
and they fill up as
Carson.
Yeah.
Green says that they can't hear the straight line.
Oh, what? Yeah, let me get. Shout things out as I fix this.
Like to the left, around that
And
way.
everything,
Feel
we
that
can
way.
have specials fill up
Should be
as
working.
and ready.
Can someone check it for me?
Yeah,
Yeah, my mic should be on.
We could have the indicators for the specials like have a little fill up level.
Yeah, like
Right.
So the kind of same thing we did here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've gotten that. I'm gonna try to speed through this a little bit more. Enemy health bar. Where do you think this should go?
Yeah, Carson, there's nothing on.
What?
There's no audio.
Oh my god.
Do the enemies like pop up? Or like
You just heard it?
Okay, so that kind of depends on the perspective.
Oh, it's just quiet.
It's just quiet. Let me crank it. How's that?
Cool.
Okay, whatever. My mic's pretty quiet, so that's on me.
I would say like the health bar should be like tied to the enemies on screen. Like
So
Just
let's
wherever
say
they're
our enemy
located.
is.
yeah, do they like
We'll make them a certain enemy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So. What? So have the health bar kind of be here.
Yeah.
So we have enemy health bar. Let's go fast. Status effects.
They could be like right above the health bars with like a little like lightning symbol for like paralyze or poison or something like that.
There?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the players.
Players. This guy.
This
This,
right next to it.
left with the little
Or
icon?
even like that, a portrait could change to reflect their stats.
we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, status effects. That's damage indicator. Where do we want to put that?
If it's a number that's flashing on screen, it will just flash up when you get attacked. So wherever like the point of attack, that's when the number pops up.
We'll put it like 50 here.
Yeah.
And if we get hit, it should hit the player icon maybe?
Player icon.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
yeah.
like mine is 50 on this little person.
Okay, put it there.
That's cool.
Damage indicator. Last thing. Item pickup stuff.
That could be.
We want to isolate that.
Okay, if the A could be used to like pick up items, like the right space button.
Yeah.
That could be like the item pickup, and it's like, yo, pick up an item, and when it's like somewhere, and
So-
like
so
if it's like a three, like with the same just scheme of like the 3 abilities.
Yep.
Just for that right button, it's just like
Have a pickup?
Pick up whenever an item you can
Okay.
pick up
We'll do
shows
that.
up.
Do
then
they
you
have to,
can
does the
do
items
that.
have to restore on screen?
Like after the battle is what you meant?
Yeah, I was thinking it would be like, yeah, it's not like the button to tell you, it's not telling you like what button to press. I was thinking more just like, oh, you picked up a.
We can use that, oh, wait.
Just kind of like
I think
Or for any updates. but-
because it's not in the game, I'm gonna take this out so we're not confused by it. But I think, are we satisfied with this? Are we ready to show off the guess?
The only other thing is if your other teammates are in the battle at any point, you still need their Doritos.
You need their Doritos? You want some Doritos for the people? Oh, we can make some Doritos.
Yeah, what do y'all look like? Doritos. Statistically, yeah.
I'll just put 1, 2, 3 here. Oh, actually, I kind of think it does. Okay, so y'all ready for the actual game?
Sure.
So the game is just based off of. Is this bullshit? So this shit is terrible. So we're gonna talk why this shit is terrible.
Oh, come on,
So
it's not that bad.
it's pretty bad. First off, what I want us to do is kind of let's go through the list we've made and try to find the things that we've kind of highlighted. So I think the first thing we put on here when we got in here was health. Where do we think our health is?
The top
So
left.
we have
Top left.
Yeah. Not a-
yeah.
So how do you know who's is who?
You have to
You have to know their
You
name.
have to tie name to the visuals, yeah.
So I think that's one aspect we've already one up them on. Is that we have a visual of who is who, because you
To be fair, this game is 5 characters. Yeah.
have 3 active.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's assume I don't know how to read.
Yeah, no. Let's assume you don't know who you've never seen this game before in your life. You want to understand what is happening. I have no clue who these people are. And so we'll go to the next one. Let's go down the list. So the gauge for synergies in this game is this. This is your gauge for synergies.
Okay.
It's tied to this, but it's these.
Okay.
Which makes so much sense. I will say that's one thing we didn't kind of tackle on here is kind of how do we go through each person's, and that's down to control scheme. It's kind of getting into the specifics, but this game is very confusing about where you actually access these kind of things. The next thing we kind of had on here was making the UI more condensed and more visually enticing, so you can see it on a small screen. Imagine trying to see that on a small screen. It is a Switch game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you have a small screen and you want to know what your health is.
Oh.
Look how small the health bar is. Like the numbers are not that big.
But numbers are hard to like know in the middle.
I can hardly
Like,
see
I
it,
can
and it's
tell,
blown
like,
up on
if
the
this
screen.
bar is full.
Especially when you're in the thousands.
Yeah.
It's a little hard.
Very
You really just
Yeah.
look at the first digit. You don't actually read the numbers.
Exactly. Kind of color coding for skills. That's a thing I think would be a great addition. This game doesn't do that. It has little icons, but there's no quick way to know what abilities do. This is the kind of thing you have to learn, and that's kind of part of the game loop of just learning what each character does. But also, it'd be nice to be able to look and see, oh, this is a healing thing. The icons have green in it, but kind of having more emphasis on green to signify that. Anything else on here? Damage indicators. They have damage indicators. We're very similar when it comes to health. When it comes to damage indicators, it's pretty spot on. I guess so. Status effects. I forgot where they show them in this game. They don't. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's
Tor is buffed or something right here. There's no indication.
They don't show buffs. They just show debuffs. I think if you're like poisoned or if you're getting burned.
I think
and
it's
you're
usually.
actually-
usually.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Yeah.
only for debuffs.
Yeah.
For debuffs, it's usually on your character. Like it's not like if you're shackled, then it'll show like.
Oh yeah, they do it through. They do
Yeah.
it in-game.
But when you have this much visual noise in the game, because who noticed the health power here? The health power. Like the main way you heal in this game is spawning in health pots and grabbing them. Who was able to see that through the UI?
What's the bottom left?
The bottom left.
Yeah.
You can basically switch Pokemon. I didn't put that in because it's kind of dumb. But yeah, in general, we kind of tackled everything. This game has a lot of visual noise. It has a lot of complex systems, and the way it kind of portrays it, the way it portrays them is not very strong. It kind of shrinks everything and condenses everything to a size where it's really hard to read. And so I think based on what we have here, kind of making this bigger, easier to see, putting more emphasis on the game itself, I think we did a strong job there. And so, with that in mind, we're going to do a more individual stuff. These will be a lot quicker. We just wanted to take more time on the first one so everyone knows what we're doing. So, our second game is an open world game where the player can traverse to any point of the map they see. They can use special abilities and items they find along the way to help them traverse the world. This lets them tackle high elevations, various weather conditions, and even other enemies they'll encounter. So, if you know the game, don't say it. With this in mind, on your own, curate a list of things you think are important and draw your mock-up. And then we're going to come back as a group. We're going to recreate this list based on what you guys had individually. And if people want to share, we can have people come up with their UI and we can look at it together. So take about.
They have a backpack.
Do they have a back? If they want to have a backpack, you can make a backpack. I'll let that be open to you. We're just run with these concepts. If you have any ideas or questions about the game, I can answer it. But I'm going to set a timer for about 7 minutes. And so get your list, get your mock-up, and in 7 minutes, we'll kind of reconvene. And I'm going to walk around, so if anyone has questions. 7 minutes has started.
Do they look at the location they want to go to, and they can just go to it? So is it? It's open world. Okay. Is it okay? Because I was like, if you can see it, you can just like.
You don't click and go there. You have to walk there.
Okay.
But I mean that it's open world in the pure sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess is the emphasis on like the player always knowing where they're going without map knowledge? Because I know some open world games are like in and out. Is that like a personal preference?
Yellow brick road.
Give me yellow door. That's all you need. I do not need to see which direction I go. Whether we on both sides, they're going 2 meters here. I guess I can tell you the 2 each. 2. Yeah. I do know. Two characters apiece.
I know you're not so great.
I know Kim's like,
I want to do this, but I saw it in, so it's not really. But I had to give you some.
Oh, you know.
Like stuff.
Yeah, no, use
Oh wow.
So is that
Yeah. Like I don't just
did you ever have to use did you ever have to use script? You remember freaking Google script?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those ones where they're like seven. The base ones would be like. And so now I'm just running through and seeing what extra ones I can get done. I just saw that I like make it the one I'm doing right now is saving it which I famously just did. Really not that it's very all it is half of I've made it.
What else do I need? What, it doesn't say anything about
special abilities.
You're not going.
It's
on the screen.
I
got 10 seconds.
mean, abilities bottom right.
Okay. That's time. Do people want another minute? You want? Time's up. Do people want another minute?
Yes.
Yes.
Minutes.
I'll give you one more minute.
It's like a little like pop out that you can like do in real time. That's the idea. So you can still see the game. Awesome. But in a limited view.
Sounds just like it. Oh, that's a lie.
What do you mean? Oh, you'll see.
This is like
You'll rue the day. You'll rue the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, how did you guess? Holy shit. I should have put that on here. I didn't. Spoiler.
Yeah.
That's not on here. We have 5 games. It's not on there. Yep. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're done. Yippee. Okay, so before I start the game, what kind of things do y'all come up with for important elements? Just kind of yell them out.
Health.
Health.
Mini map.
Mini map. I like that.
Ability wheel.
Okay.
Weather radar.
Weather radar, ability wheel.
Bad.
Wait. What did I miss? Ability wheel, weather,
Waypoints.
waypoints. I like that.
I don't know if this was like important, but you said high elevation, so I said like a altitude, like
Altitude thing?
Yeah.
I'll just put it as altitude thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. Okay.
Like a bag, like inventory.
Of that, okay, inventory.
Mini map.
Mini maps on there.
Oh, my bad.
None of those. I think the emphasis should be on as clear of a thing as possible, so you take more of the world in.
So less you are. Okay. Less you are. I like that answer.
He thinks he's smart.
Anything else?
No quest marker, no quest indicator, no.
Okay.
It's just my.
Just
Yeah, we'll get weapons.
That's a good one.
You know if it's like the line.
We have that.
I didn't see that.
Wait, that one. Anyone else had any important elements?
Emo wheel.
No.
No.
We're not.
In a
No.
single player open world.
You will not take the L on the enemies. Yep. Photo mode? I'm not gonna put that on there. It's in there. I'm not gonna put it on there because I think you know the game.
It's in there?
What?
It's in there?
It might be in there. It might.
So it's in there?
No, it's not. Okay. Does anyone want to show off their kind of UI?
I love my.
So, mine was, I only had 3 things on mine. So I only had 3 things on mine. I feel like, especially because it's an open world game, a mini map is unnecessary since the exploration is based on
You can't see it. I can come back.
mob knowledge. And I feel like everything should be fading and only appear as needed. So health should only appear when health is low, stamina or whatever it is should only appear when it's low. Climate should only appear when it's important. And the weapon wheel should only appear, or ability wheel, whatever you want to call it, should only appear when you toggle it. Otherwise, everything should be focused on like scenic viewpoints or just emphasizing the world instead of the UI.
I would say abilities would always have.
Yeah,
So-
you can combine that with the climate.
So you put the ability wheel down here.
Yeah. It only shows up when you toggle it or can select it, kind of like a weapon wheel, I guess. No, I feel like you should just know that. Just learn it. Nah, just learn it.
I think in general, this is for weather, right?
That's just any non-standard climate. So when you're up in the elevation, I feel like that's kind of already evident by being there. So it should only appear if you're like taking cold damage or heat damage or drowning or whatever you want to call it.
Let me show the stream real quick. Has a kind of view of this.
I feel like that should be part of. That's like
This is not the best way to show it, but this is kind of what Greg came up with. So I think in general it's kind of good. I will say. So you say things will only show up when they happen.
only when they.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I think my only issue with this is it's very like it's on the left. 'Cause
Yeah.
I would imagine the weather thing would be there all the time because that could constantly be changing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like if you know where to look for health, you know where to look for stamina. So I think in general, I think it's a very strong idea.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
You should. I'm gonna write down.
I'm gonna have to get close for this. Do you want to explain what you had there?
Okay, so it's obviously it's catered around like the main like character in the center. The mini map being in the top right to show where you are like in the world, but in like obviously a larger scale. The health and I guess like temperature all over in the top left because it's related on like how you are in the game. Abilities or whatever. That made a block. I don't know why. Because it was last minute. Abilities in the bottom right. And then inventory is like a separate UI. I didn't want it displayed on the screen. I'd rather you just like press a button and then hit UI
I'm gonna try something.
for the back. And yeah, the gauge for the weather and stuff is a little body temperature icon. And that is lovely mountains and trees.
Body temp right there.
Yeah. Near the health bar.
Okay.
So like and then you can and obviously like you can tell where you are based off of like the weathering like that you actually see, kind of like how he was saying.
Mhm.
Like you, and then you use like common sense.
Yeah, hold on. Let me show this real quick.
I built this thing. Built this thing to find the cross border.
So that's the one in question.
But there was
Okay.
on the
I think all in all, this is very strong. I think having this pop-up always available next to the map makes sense. I mean, quick to access, quick to see. I would say body temperature. Is that just gonna be a number next to what I
No,
presume?
it's an icon. It's like
Is this the icon?
yeah, it's very tiny, but like it's an icon and it's like a thermostat. It'll change whether, like depending on
These are
abilities, whatever abilities that are in the game, they
Yeah.
will be there.
Okay.
It's-
I think this is strong. I think very minimal, puts more emphasis on the world, kind of like what Gray did.
I mean, it's
I think we're taking the right approach to this and kind of trying to let the open world shine. Anyone else? We can do one more. Give me that. Give me this. I'm gonna show stream first.
Okay.
So here we go, stream. Dude, you guys pretty small in here.
My guy. Okay. So I forgot the health bar first, so I did the bites like they're like the low thermostat first. That's also like a little thermostat.
Where's that?
At the top left.
Top left.
There'll be like a little like bar to indicate like all the way at the left is cold, and then it'll fill up to the right if it's like hot or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have health bar? The big dookie bunker cheese thing on the left. That's something. That's like it's like a real time kind of menu system.
Okay.
So like you can still like kind of do some stuff in the game if you'd like to.
How would you navigate that?
I would like assume with like all the player movement and actions would be done with like the analog stick, while like navigating the menu would be done with like the D-pad.
With the D-pad. So what if you're fighting an enemy and you want to grab an item real quick?
Yeah. Or I could have like a separate pause bar that goes into the menu. This is like for like quick switching.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
And
But
then
you
what,
can hit-
what are these kind of correspond to?
That would be just like those are just like your face buttons,
Mhm.
and like maybe there could be like images and stuff there. Also, the big finger cheese thing, you can hit like exit out of it, so it goes away. So like it doesn't always have to be on the screen. Top right is a mini map. There's like a little cone out of like the player to show like where they're facing.
Mhm.
And then the little enemy dude got like a little health bar above him. So you can notice that.
I like it. I think it's strong. I do think. Nah, but sort of think. Well, let's look at the actual one, and then we'll see where we sit. So I'm gonna switch back to laptop. Oh, and we're back. So, some of you might have guessed it, but this is the game. You were wrong.
I love Spider.
You were wrong. Okay, so I think this is a very good. No, it's not.
It is. Skyrim is one of my favorites.
Did they do this?
Downgrade. Objective downgrade.
This?
Yes.
Straight up upgrade.
How many
You
freaking
can
items
sort it.
You can sort it. That doesn't help.
No, it does.
Sorting does help.
It does help. Okay.
It does help.
Okay. Let's talk about this. So I think the kind of consensus I got from most of the ones that we've seen is a consensus on like minimal UI and trying to emphasize that open world, which is something I think Tears of the Kingdom does really strongly. It kind of it puts everything in the two corners. You have things that represent your player state in the top left, and things that represent the world state in the bottom right. And you can argue that this is player state. However, this is based off your current environment that you're in. So I think it creates a strong kind of dichotomy of you want to know what the player, anything related to the player, up to the top left. Everything else, bottom right. And I think, Gray, I liked what you did because a big thing that this game does have is the ability to turn off UI. And so they have that in mind where there's a whole setting where they understand you want to see the world, you want to be able to kind of put yourself in that world and get rid of all this stuff. And so I think I was an equally valid approach to this concept. Does anyone have have any comments on things they like about the yeah.
Definitely personal preference, but I think the inclusion of a map can take away from the exploration of the world. Like, don't get me wrong, when you start off, you're gonna not know where you're going.
Mhm.
But as you play, especially if you play the game a lot,
When you
need a map.
when you have a world this big.
That is true. You know what? That is a
Yeah.
very big world.
I think the inclusion of a mini map in a game, this at least in this context, when you have a world this big, as well as something where it's this vertical, I think one thing they added between the games was coordinate points. And so not only can you show to other players, hey, I found this at this coordinate point, but now you have a visualization of, oh, this is how high I am, this is how far to the right in the map I am. So small things like this can help a lot, providing info for the player. So with that in mind, we're going to move to the next one. The next one, you will probably guess this one. No shot. It's not what you think. A third-person battle royale game where you collect better loot. You find around the map, and the goal of that dub. The playable area of the map shrinks over time, and you're able to play with friends. And so, again, we're gonna kind of what?
No. I want to speak with you in private.
Okay, so we're gonna go through that process again. Kind of identify your main items that you want to focus on, and then curate your UI, and then we'll come back as a group. Yeah.
Is this a winner chicken dinner dub or is
That's why I said the dub. That's why I said dub.
Oh, okay.
You don't
It
know.
could be any of those two things.
You could be the champion.
I don't know.
Victory chicken.
Victory or out. Chicken dinner. Being the champion. It could be any of them.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Carson.
No, I got it. You were the champion.
No,
After you did it straight up, I thought about it. And I looked at photos. It was atrocious. I was not doing that, not even as a joke. No, I should have.
That would have been funny.
It would have been really funny.
But yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. Oh yeah, by the way, what?
This game is played on multiple platforms?
Multiple platforms?
Yeah.
Let's say it could be played on this. Could be played on a phone.
Yeah.
Is that an iPhone?
Android or iPhone. At some point in time.
Okay.
I would just say you can play it on a iPhone or Android. It is still possible to this day.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm gonna put 9 minutes. Do we fine with 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting 9 minutes on the clock. Starting now. I'm gonna switch back here. So, chat. Just start current prompt. We have 9 minutes. Go crazy. Once again, if you have any questions about the game, just raise your hand.
You want to see my design? You want to see my design?
Oh, that's a good design. That's a really good design.
Dang.
Don't cheat. You get it back when you're done.
Did you just pull a high school teacher?
You
can get back from the office after
Now you gotta put it in the
If you know the games, separate the concept from the game.
I know that. This is my unique concept.
That is not your unique concept.
Really, Fortnite is not a very unique.
Okay, I actually have notes on this one now, so I can't be. Okay, cool.
See, you should try that. You just. I mean, it's still a person here.
Combines. You have a lot of different elements of the UI you have to think about with a battle royale.
Combines mom's credit
I love my mother's credit card. Mommy, Daddy, can I get new? I want the new emote, please.
I'm asking my dad to buy the battle pass for me every year.
It's only $10.
It's only $10, and then
If you finish them, you can get it again. I just failed to get it this time, so I need you to get it again. Yeah.
Oh my god, you just don't know
I'm trying to get my dad to tell
Right now,
These are multitasking.
6 minutes. All square.
It's not square necessarily, but like this.
It's a meme, it's a big. Oh.
This isn't like this is your. So I'll show you where to like.
I'm not ready for this.
No, I get it. Whatever. But like, I mean, I asked, the thing that I asked for, how exactly. I should have do better for
Let's go. Actually.
4 minutes, 40 seconds.
They're like, so they.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say that one has better storytelling, but
I don't agree with that.
like you like you want someone
Oh no.
yeah, no, I like these two better.
Oh no.
That's the argument I've heard.
It should be possible to between the strings.
I guess that's, I wouldn't say that's team though. That's kind of like.
Pretty simple.
Okay. I mean, the majority of games have two, I think. Okay. That's fair. You're good?
I think.
What?
Okay, so for some reason they like mixed up like being able to get the current user and logging in a user because they were like, oh duh. I was just an idiot. I was talking about creating a user, and I was like, duh, there's going to be a way to choose what type of user because you're logging in to that user.
Well, they should have replaced it as a create user. There's almost a wall.
Below that. Yeah. Okay, so that's where we get to the maybe additional
So what you like?
As long as it works. As long as I get to the stuff on the front end and it doesn't not work, they will be good. As long as it works. As long as it works, I won't go crazy. I won't go crazy. You're at 2 minutes. Do you need the 2 minutes or no? No, you're not doing it. You're good? Is everyone good? Okay.
Is there a cheeseburger item?
No shot.
Yeah, there's always a cheeseburger. Even if you think your game doesn't have a cheeseburger item, you're wrong. There's always one.
And you played the Roblox.
It's just a random location that popped up in my head. It's my own unique idea. It's a pleasant place, I would think. And also, like, it gives off, it's like maybe a little local area, so it doesn't have, maybe.
Dude, they gotta have a local park to play at.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. 1 minute. We good. We have 1 minute. We good? Is everyone good? Okay. I'm just gonna stop it. Okay. Time is up. Okay. So let's get back into it. What are some of the key elements?
I
Great.
think friends, the social games or the social element should take priority.
Friends.
Friends.
What about friends?
Like, just who's playing.
Okay.
A lot of games now, they don't.
Okay. Weapon rarity. Oh, perfect. Very, very important. It is your win or lose case. Like, anyone else? There's not 3 things in the UI. A mini map.
Oh, and you would just perpetuate the location of where you are. Maybe if you enter the designated area.
Okay, anyone else got anything? Okay.
Whatever's available, whatever's not.
Maybe zoning.
I'm putting bounds of zone. Compass, like that. I'll put that on the mini map. Emo wheel. I mean, we can.
Just for this one.
And this one gets a pass.
Okay. Remaining players in game.
Emo wheel is pretty
I don't know. I think I want to know my health and how many other players there are so I can win the game.
But is it really a multiplayer game?
That's so true. I can't wait to hit the grid.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh yeah, that's 3 hours.
This is the only elements we have. An emote wheel being one of them.
Have like a bar to indicate what weapons or like health items or shield items that you might.
Shield.
Wait, what's shield?
What is that?
Bar for that.
I don't know that.
I think it's
You're
definitely
gonna
You're gonna feel really stupid.
I know, probably
So like inventory.
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 Yes.
I'll put inventory / weapon wheel.
Yeah.
They serve the same purpose.
Not a wheel though. The way I've designed it is to be a bar.
Okay. Okay. What? How many kills? Okay. I think this is now a good list. So, does anyone want to share theirs? Reticle? Oh, a crosshair. Yeah. Duh. Like, who didn't have a crosshair?
I did.
Do not have.
Okay. Whoever didn't have a crosshair, show me yours.
Crosshair on everyone.
Okay. Who wants to share theirs? Okay. Give me your thing. For the stream, hold on. Just for the stream, please. Okay, so this is the UI. Thomas can use this later. Cool. So, oh no way. So, what elements have you added, and where'd you put them? So, let's start. What's this?
That's your weapon bar. It's what you currently have equipped with you.
How can you tell which one you currently have?
Whenever I didn't think too. I was kind of hurrying up that one, but I didn't have that yet. But
Okay, if you were to add it, what would you do?
I would have put it like an arrow for like what you have on right now.
Just an arrow.
Like if you have an arrow above like your current weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
then the
way to
mini
do it.
map up there.
Mini
is
map?
basically, like the whole map, and then you have like the bounds of.
I see that. It's like the. Okay.
Then you have the credits there, like things 1, 2, like your health. But I also.
What's this?
That's like that's like a little profile.
Okay.
Like head.
Cool avatar.
Yeah. Then you see there's some weapons over there, like them color coded. You know, there's a target reticle, and then I added like another health bar down there to indicate like how they could easily see at a glance because. So this would be your health. Yeah, it'd be your health. Okay. That's your health. So would you want this health bar to say this health bar? Probably not. Probably not. It'd be a little bigger. A little bigger. Yeah. That makes sense to me. And one other thing I do with this is just. I think having the name across from the avatar, you kind of want to associate the name to the face. I guess I have an idea.
Other than that, what kind of elements do we have here that you might not? I don't see your emote wheel. I think some important things I see here is maybe an indicator of how many players are left. I don't see that present. And so kind of adding that maybe somewhere on here to kind of indicate how close to that win condition are you.
I put it under the mini map then.
You put it on the mini map. Okay, sweet. Other than that, I don't have any other comments. Anyone else want to share?
He's not bigger than me. He's got.
I'll take both of yours.
Mine is really good.
Anyone else?
really good.
I don't know. I don't like this one. Real quick, stream. Here you go.
Like a liar. Like a liar.
Here. We're going for the wide screen. I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a nice wide screen game here. Okay. So, what do we got here?
Well, we got a guy getting no scoped.
Okay.
He's getting.
Would that be in the game? Would you be able to see what other people are saying to you live in a bubble? That would be awesome. That would be a little.
Top left, you got your health bar, and I also did a thing where like you separate it into chunks. Some games do that, where it's like it's just easier to conceptualize where exactly like your health stands. Sometimes like if it's like a big bar, it's hard to like know how much more than half do I have. But, like, those other chunks kind of help that.
Okay.
You got your teammate. His health bar is all blacked out because he's dead.
Oh, okay. He just sucks.
Yeah, he just sucks.
Okay.
You got your 2 guns on the bottom left. I probably should have added like more space for more guns and stuff.
Why is the bottom one and the top one 2? Wouldn't that be a little weird to understand at a quick glance?
Maybe, but like I also am in the like at the very edge is like the first.
Yeah.
Like the first indication of anything. So like going up from the bottom up still makes sense to me.
Okay.
Because like at the bottom left could be like your largest display, whereas like the ones above it would be smaller. Like I had like the other one be smaller.
And it would filter which one's at the bottom based on which one's equipped. Okay. Because you only have 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
What top right is kill feed.
No one else had that so far. Okay. What's this?
That is
The circle. Oh my goodness.
So it's a circle with a circle in it.
Okay. So players left. Players left. You have across it. You have friends kind of. I don't know who your friend is though. You don't have a name for your friend? Oh, you got an AI. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Where's your emote wheel? You were the one so adamant about the emote wheel. Oh, and you don't have one.
How do I know who's playing?
That's what I'm saying. Okay. For the interest of time, we're gonna move on. We'll do yours real quick. Oh, did you get this at GDC?
Of course.
Oh my god.
I got that instead of the mini.
Okay. I'm gonna give it like 2 minutes for this one because this one's kind of bad. Someone cheated.
I didn't cheat. I don't have a phone. Yes.
Personally, I'd like to be able to have my view centered.
That's all.
Yeah.
Personally, I forgot.
Okay. So I will say the one thing I see that other people didn't have is this kind of players left. I don't know how there's still 100 in the match, but
It's getting ready to go down. They just got shot. It's
I will say, is that your health the big one at the top?
Yes.
Okay. I would imagine that might be a little hard to see at a glance. No. You're getting shot. You panic. You look at the top left, and you see 3 health bars. And let's say your health was here, and this is blacked out. Would you get confused which one is yours?
I wouldn't get confused.
You wouldn't. Okay, I guess you're just built different. Because I understand.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't get confused. Because after, I'm just saying, after playing, like, and also I have so many notes about everything that I put down and the reasons of why. Like, they have those little stars as to why I have everything. Stars? Out of anger. Not everybody was, can you hit?
Yeah, I
Not
guess.
everybody was able to appreciate it.
So I think somebody who gets the game. It was not that hard. It was not that hard to guess. I'm gonna blaze through my notes for this one. This game was both of them. For the interest of being able to compare and contrast. So I think the big pros. Overall, I think Fortnite's is much stronger than PUBG's. The main difference I see between these is the use of color.
Yeah.
Kind of Fortnite strongly associates health and items and so health items and shield items with green and blue respectively, and you'll see that in items down here and with your health bar and stuff here. So you're able to see, oh, this item is for healing, this item is for shields at a quick glance. On top of that, the use of color for color rarity, which some people had here, of being able to glance at an item and be like, oh, I might have a blue sniper. There is a purple sniper behind the Peter Griffin medallion. I can grab that, and that should be a straight up upgrade compared to PUBG, which it's compared to PUBG, where you might have to inspect a weapon in an exterior menu, like an inventory menu, to be able to compare and contrast advantages and disadvantages. And so Fortnite kind of uses color to give you an instant, this is better in stats, this is better in capabilities, at least for this type of weapon. But I will say both give a very clear example of the map, because the whole point of these battle royales is to shrink the area that you're in and shrink it down. And so I will say PUBG is very small, but Fortnite puts a big emphasis on the map size. This is the biggest thing on your screen, except for this. But this shrinks and grows based on like if you're building or not.
If you're like swapping in between like it's gonna be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, these will switch sides based on what's most active. However, the map, it always stays this big. It's always taking up a prominent size of your screen because of how important knowing where you are and where you need to be is. Overall, I think PUBG is kind of not good. I will say I was only able to find screenshots for PUBG Mobile, and they put on a. I understand why they use like transparent things. It's because when your display is also your control scheme, you want to be able to see through that, especially in a battle royale where you can barely see anything. However, my main issue with it is everything is so small. It is really hard, especially on a mobile like phone screen, to see.
I think it's an iPad screenshot.
It does look like an iPad, but still on an iPad, this map is.
It looks like worse than
this little
Pixel
emote
Gun.
thing is tiny. Even if it's not very
What? You ever heard of Pixel Gun 3D? I was like, Pixel Gun 3D has a better interface.
Things like fire is big. It should be bigger, and so they use size to emphasize like what you should be doing more. So next, we're gonna move on quickly because we have 30 minutes left, and we still have plenty of time. So we're gonna switch over to do some menus. So we just did 3 HUDs. How do we like the HUDs?
I like them.
You like the HUDs? Okay. These ones will have a lot less creative stuff behind it. It'll be more about what information do we want to have, how do we want to organize it, and how do we want to display it. And so we're gonna before we go into doing menu stuff, kind of what I would focus on when kind of making these menus. And so the first one I would kind of want to emphasize is consistent vocab. A lot of these games, we're going to have mechanics. They're going to have very complex things that might have terms associated with it. Let's say Pokemon, for example. If you want to know your Pokemon, they're going to be called Pokemon. They're not going to be called creatures somewhere. They're not going to be called monsters. They're going to always be called Pokemon. They're always going to have skills. They're always going to have. What's the thing for like the amount of moves you have left? BP. All the terms are consistent in what they correspond to. So making sure you're consistent in your vocab. Finding comfortable depth is really important. You don't want to have a super shallow menu where you're going through 50 options to find one little submenu. But also, you don't want to have two choices that branch into infinite submenus where you can't find anything. And the last one is kind of having clear navigation. And so you want to be able to quickly navigate and understand if I were going to hit down on the controller, where am I going to go in the menu? One game I think it does it not very well is Brawl. It's got like the four quadrants thing. If you hit down, you go to the right. Or you hit right, you go up. It's trying to be very clear about what actions correspond with what direction in your menu. And navigation is clear. And so when you're laying out your menu, keep that in mind. How am I going to control through this? So the first one we're going to go through. Oh yeah, once again, don't yell at the game. This one's going to be very obvious. If some of you don't know it, I'll be surprised. So a turn-based RPG as well as a social sim. Game revolves around a calendar system where you can increase your relationship with various characters. You can also level up your party/creatures that you have and teach them new moves and abilities. And so the important things here is assume this is a general all-purpose menu. You have one menu. Everything is accessible in that menu. We're going to detail that home screen and kind of ideal like how are we going to branch into different things. And so list out what information you want to be accessible based on these kind of prompts. How would you display them in the menu? And then kind of how big of should your tree be? Do you want it to be shallow, where you have a lot of options on that main menu, but not a lot of sub-menus? Or do you want like 3 choices and those kind of like, oh, I have my party and this will have everything related to battle stuff. And then the other one be relationships and everything about relationships. So I'm going to give you all 8 minutes for this. I think it's a little more complex than the other one.
I don't know the game.
Good.
I don't know this. You have my phone?
Oh.
I'm not going to use it. I just want it back. Fortnite is over.
All right, I'm putting 8 minutes starting now. If you have any questions, ask me. This one's a little more vague than others. It is not a guess that game. It is a don't guess it. Just make a thing based off of it. Don't do that. I know you know what the game is. I know half this room knows what the game is.
Super Mario Brothers 2, baby.
This silly world. I don't know what on earth you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's a naive assumption based on
I don't understand what you mean by menu, I guess. Like, I'm still like,
Okay. So assume kind of a pause menu. So I'm gonna do since I said Pokemon as an example earlier. I'm gonna do Pokemon. Have you played a Pokemon game? Okay. This will still work.
Played like competitive games, so.
This is not good. Ignore the sizing. So Pokemon has a kind of you're in the world. You hit a button, you get a menu. You can look at your Pokemon. You can look at your items. You can I forgot what the other options are, but kind of it is a straight up menu where you can access things about Pokemon, things about items. Your settings are in here.
Oh, okay.
It just you're in the world. You hit a button, and now you have access to information that kind of controls how you play. So control your Pokemon. Which ones are active? Which moves do they have? Items. What items do you have? Do you have any berries you can feed your Pokemon? Potions to heal them. Moves to teach them. I forgot what the other ones are.
Pokedex?
That is one actually.
Save.
Oh, save is its own thing in here.
Get it.
Map is one. So it gives you access to different tools that you could use for the game that aren't directly interacting with the game world. That's the big difference here. These aren't needed for the active gameplay loop. They assist in it. Now that she doesn't know what the game is, it's a lot harder, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know the game, but I don't know the menu layout.
Then create it.
Right, so like these branch, you click on them and then they go to the
You did not. Oh, dude, there's more to that.
Yeah? There's more of that?
You have a whole calendar system.
Yeah, look, today's date, Wednesday and tomorrow.
Various characters. They can be not women. There's male. Male release.
That's what. What is it?
What? Oh, you're so proud of yourself.
What if like a game menu actually did this? Crossed out one of your
Y'all got 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Change your mind about that.
So, there's a thing for creatures. How you can do that. You have a party. Party. There's a party with multiple characters that you can equip or assign in the party. How do you manage that? How do you manage what creatures you have?
You don't have to go.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone but you. You have infinite characters. You have infinite creatures. Your creatures are separate from your party's creatures. So how do you manage your creatures?
There we go.
Plus, did you say?
Oh.
That is, you know what? That is a creature.
That is a creature.
Can't argue with
You
that.
cannot argue with that. Yeah, you don't have to. Create it yourself. What things do you want to be available in this menu?
I guess my idea is just like you'll click on like one thing on the right and
Yeah.
then like it'll populate something on the left. There's options.
All right. Got 3 minutes.
Oh, I see. Also got a pretty long bike, well, not long, but like 4-mile bike ride ahead of me. I bike to yours. My car is untrustworthy. So,
I like that. What if I told you there's relationship support? There are people outside your party who can give up. Oh! Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Keep going. You know this kid? No, you don't. Oh, no shot. Really? That's crazy. Thomas, you're a fake fan.
He knows. He knows. He literally said it out loud and I had to stop him because he's not paying
It
attention.
would look just like this, except it would be like all the which is whenever you hit that,
What is this?
whenever you hit that character, then it shows like that.
So these characters who are not in your party are going to have to
I do, okay. I do, just I didn't use this one, right? Damn it. Sorry.
Basically out.
1 minute. We got 1 minute.
I think the bigger ones would be calendar would be like a size relationships like a small
What does a relationship mean to you?
Eric, sorry. Heart. Eric's a heart. Okay.
Social link. Actually, did not. He doesn't know. I didn't even know.
Wait, really? He knows what that is? He doesn't know what. Dude, he just said it, and I was like, oh my god.
I didn't put
Okay, we're out of time. We're out of time.
JRPGs there are
Okay.
with a calendar system.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's yell out. What kind of options do we have? Did I hear date?
Yes.
Okay. We had a date. I assume today's date.
I get if we're playing it. I don't know.
I did not include certain aspects. So yeah, a date is good.
The date of the game that you're in.
Okay. What other aspects do we have in this menu? What options do we have?
We have
Swoon people. We get swoon people / relationships. Are some of some people's. Okay. So an equipment menu. Anything else?
equipment.
A party.
Turn-based RPG. You ever played one before?
No. Battle Royale. Valorant.
Try some other games. Okay. Anything else?
The characters that are in the entire game. Because apparently.
I have relationships. I'll add characters there.
Party character.
I was at the right party.
Okay, yeah, the creatures like.
Creatures.
What? Like pets?
No.
Oh, you'll see.
Calendar
Calendar menu.
Yeah.
Level up.
As far as I know, this just sounds like school.
Cool.
So, I think we're gonna work with this list. Does anyone want to share theirs? I'm only gonna share one. So someone who's really confident. No.
If no one says anything,
Okay.
we'll select mine.
5 more seconds. Someone who's very confident wants to show theirs.
5 more seconds? That's me.
Okay. You're acting like I had infinite
I
time.
trust that with my heart.
Thomas. Pay special attention, Thomas.
No, please.
You're gonna be the judge. If you think this is good or not. You know what the game is. Oh shoot. Oh, hold on, let me show the stream. Thomas has
Did I actually accidentally guess this?
Kind of. Hold on, I'm doing something else.
Oh, can you get like the?
Thomas, this is for you later. Cool.
So this is what we have laid out. Thomas, what do you think of this, Thomas?
What aspects do you think is missing?
You understand? We got a few menus here. It looks like.
Yeah, I will say I forgot to leave in descriptions about there being items and the game rotating on a calendar system. I just said like a calendar is an important piece. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
So I'm looking in the top left right now. It's pretty simple. We've got name, information.
Well, this is the main menu.
Sorry, the right page.
This is a sub option.
Okay, the right page is the main
I
page.
started on the wrong page.
You're good.
Okay, so let's start there. So we have kind of like an ordered list of just options that makes sense. It's easy to understand what it is. We have a date in the top left. Save and exit are front and center. Characters, party options. Those are some pretty important things.
Mm-hmm.
And what this game may or may not be.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we take a look at your characters. Although I would say if I'm looking at this right now, the difference between characters and party is not very clear.
Mhm.
I wouldn't necessarily know what the difference is if I'm looking at this for the first time.
That's fair.
Maybe some icons or something would be helpful there. But looking in here, we look in, I'm guessing that's in the characters menu.
So
On
this
the
is
left. Yeah. So we see a name. I'm guessing in the top left that would be like a picture of the character or something. We've got information about the character and relationship status. I think all the information there is nice. Although little portrait kind of in the top left, maybe we could use some of that space.
That's more than
Mhm.
That's
Stuff
Yeah.
of the character. Let's look in the bottom. We have the party menu. So it looks like it's like that introducing different characters. That makes sense. We have name, status, health, all that fun stuff. A little simplistic. We have a list of moves.
moves, yeah.
Not clear whether or not they would include data about the moves or if you could inspect them to see that data. I'm going to assume that that would be a feature.
Of course.
If it wasn't, that would be an interesting thing to
That would be very interesting.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it has most of the things that you would
Mhm.
need. If things could be emphasized a little bit.
Yeah, I
a
think-
little clearer.
I think the thing I heard you say that that stuck out to me the most is kind of putting emphasis on the characters.
Yeah.
One part of the description was it being part RPG, part social sim, and so putting an emphasis on the characters and kind of making them front and center and by having them maybe bigger. So instead of trying to guess them by name, you just associate them with their likeness, and then you're able to see all the data for them. So I think that's something to kind of take in mind. Kind of how does your genre affect your menu? And so for something that's character dependent, putting more emphasis on the characters. I think I'm just going to go ahead and show the game because we have 14 minutes.
Yeah,
and I'd like to get to the last one.
Gotta be more than
I don't know what it could be, guys. I don't know. Hold on, I gotta change the stream view. Okay, the game. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's good. If you don't know what it is,
No, it's a good game. It's just 100 hours.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah. So this is the game. This is attention. So this is Persona 5's main menu. Kind of whenever you're in the world or even within dungeons, fighting using that like RPG style. It's part RPG, part social sim. Yeah. This is kind of your main menu. You're kind of everything's in here. And my biggest issue with this kind of menu is how there's a lot going on. I've kind of representing that in a little map down here. So this shows all the options you have and kind of what they tie to. And so as you'll notice, a lot of these only have a depth of 3. You hit one option for skill, for instance, and then you select the party member, and then you select what you want to use that skill on. Most of these options will have kind of 3 main flows to it. Boom, boom, boom. And one problem you'll see, it's hard to read up here, but some of the flows overlap, and so they could definitely be condensed. For instance, skill. You select skill, select a party member, and then you select what member you want to use for that skill. Equip, select a party member, and then select their equipment to change. Stats, select a party member, view their stats for both their creature, called personas in this game, or their physical equipment kind of stats. So you have them with you. So there's a lot of repeating things in this menu where you click an option and it has a very minute use case for why you would want to use that menu. And so one thing that could be easily be cleaned up is consolidating stats and equip into the same menu. Because for some reason, stats in this game is the only way you can change who's active in your party, which makes no sense. It's not very clear. That's another case where vocab is very important. you would not associate changing your party members with stats. And so having a clear idea of what your kind of base, what your option entails for what you can do. And so I would call stats party. If I wanted to view things about my party, change who's in my party, that's where I would assume I could see stats on my party members, not just stats. And so I think we have time for one more. We're not going to draw these. I think we don't have enough time. We're just going to kind of blaze through this one. Why is my...
Q.
Huh? Did it Q?
Yeah.
Who added the Q?
Knows your home screen.
Oh, the cube. Okay. I thought someone added a cube transition. And I'm like, who did that? Who sabotaged me? So the last one is a 2D fighter with a variety of single and multiplayer modes. These include single-player adventure modes and event battles. For multiplayer, there's a tournament mode, standard battles, and special battles. There's also additional collectibles and ways to change settings. So I think for this one, we don't have a lot of time. So if someone knows the game, shout it out. Which one? No. No. What? Any of them? Okay, there's one in particular. No. No. SF6, no. No. Hearthstone? No.
Wait,
What did I hear? What? Melee. Yeah, it's Melee.
is it Melee? Oh wow.
Yeah. So, I have some notes here on like my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear what you are, based on kind of the things we've done today. What are your takeaways? What do you see that might be an issue with this menu? Based on all the things we've kind of talked about, all the things we've grasped today. But yes.
I think definitely the newer games improve on this, but like unless you are experienced with the game, these modes don't mean anything.
What in particular about that?
I think especially like versus mode and like one player mode and melee and tournament melee, like all these don't mean anything. Whereas in the newer games, there are icons that sort of, I don't think it's perfect, but they indicate more what you're getting into.
That's one thing I have
And
noted
Brawl
here.
has the same problem where they call it Brawl, and it's like, well, it's a fighting game. Of course you're going to be fighting.
I think, the one thing I note on here is vocab like that is very bad in this game. For instance, if you wanted to play, let's say if you want to play a standard match against an AI by yourself, where would you assume you would go? If you were playing single player but a normal match, one player mode, into regular match. But that sends you to classic or adventure mode. Classic is a 8-player arcade style mode where you play 8 matches in a row, and if you win, you go to the next one, and you accrue points that way. That's not a standard match.
You have to go
Yeah.
versus mode.
If you want to do a standard, like one player against AI, normal round, you have to go to versus, then melee, then click your character, and then click this little icon to create a computer. And so it's not very clear for where you want to go based on the vocab.
I would say that I would organize it. The sizing is it doesn't really tell you like what's more important than another. Like one player mode versus mode, they're all kind of equal to size. I think what Open does it like later games would improve on this, where the most important modes we started with are much larger than the side mode, the collection mode. Like they're more small and smaller.
No, I think that's an excellent point. I didn't even note that.
Yeah.
I just having an emphasis on. I think and one thing the Smash Ultimate does in particular is if you mash A, you're going to get to the standard mode.
Yeah.
Like they kind of auto lock in the path you need to take to get to that, and so I keep that that has navigation in mind. It uses sizing to emphasize what players really want the most, and so I think that's a great point to make.
I was so focused on the big yellow button, I didn't even know there was a little thing to the right that showed
Yeah.
what was actually in that
So I didn't notice this until making this slideshow. It is really hard to see.
move. Until you pointed to classic or adventure, I'm like, wait, there's
Oh, yeah, there's
text. Yeah. So it'll display what is in that menu, but when you're talking about the vocab not being great, so you don't even know what these mean unless you play the mode. And so even though it gives you context what is in that menu, it makes no sense anyways because you don't know what each term means. I'm wondering. I didn't notice this until I made the slideshow either. Did anyone notice the color coordination?
yeah, the solo red.
Yeah, and I didn't show them, but trophies is green and options is yellow. And so each one has their own color, so you'd be able to, at a glance, be like, oh, I know what category. I mean.
I guess it's kind of
Yeah, I will still. It is still a little hard to notice. You have to be looking for it. Like I never noticed it until now. But there's small things like that they try to put in there. Yes.
I think it needs an emo wheel.
Okay, so. Oh.
I would wear them publicly anyways. What do you mean?
Cool. So to recap. Oh shoot. Yeah. To recap. Good UI enables the player to make smart choices about the information they have that is quick to comprehend, quick to understand, and enables them to make the best options available to them. Attention. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I'll say it again. In recap, good UI enables a good player to be good. I mean, it tells them the information they need to make the best decisions they can within a given situation, and it notifies them about their player state, the game state, and like other knowledge they need to know to be able to tackle the main objective of the game. And I think one important note is good UI requires a good understanding of your game and how your user is going to interact with the game. Making good UI is a very long process. You're going to make a UI. You're going to be like, oh, this is awesome. And then you're going to have people play it, and they're not going to know what the fuck's going on. And they're going to be like, I'm confused. I don't know what this means, blah, blah, blah. And so you got to take that, and you got to go back like, okay, they couldn't find the health bar. I thought I made it pretty obvious. It's pretty big, but for some reason it's the same color as everything else. Maybe I'll make it a different color so it's a little more obvious. And so overall, this presentation was strictly about design. Like, what elements do you want in your UI? Where do you want to place them? Sizing and whatnot. But there's a lot more to it. Implementation's its own thing. You can incorporate moving parts and animations to them. Artistic. The art side of it's its own thing entirely of kind of creating a style and creating this thing people are going to want to look at, because if it's butt ugly, no one's going to want to look at it anyways. So, and also this is hella clean. Yeah, this is pretty clean. That is pretty clean. So, that is the workshop. So thank you for coming. Okay, next week we'll have pixel art, and here's the form for feedback. Let us know what you thought.
Carson, what else is next week?
Next week.
The emo wheel.
Oh, it's elections next week. What? Really? Oh shit! Elections next week. In the announcement, there's a form. If you want to nominate someone else or yourself, do it now.
Probably show up next week.
Yes. Yes.
Good for the position.
If you want to be nominated and you're not sure if you are, just nominate yourself. Just do it.
Also, you'll have a chance to speak unless you're being nominated for a general officer. That's the officer board decision, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, it'll happen after. In the nomination thing, you can put a reason for why you're good for like a general officer. Just fill that out. That's your speech, basically. None. Zero. You can vote, though. You can vote. You have voting rights. You make impactful decisions on our everything. It's awesome. Okay. Oh, stream. What happened? Okay. Thomas, stream might be messed up. It froze. I think the stream froze. I don't know why.